Hi guys! Welcome back to our vlog!
So for today's video, we will gonna discuss about the Marxism.
So before we start, do you want to know what is the definition of Marxism?
Then Google it.
So what is Marxism? Marxism is a social, political, and economic philosophy after name Karl Marx, which examine the effect of capitalism on labor, productivity, and economic development and argues for a worker revolution to overturn capitalism in favor of communism. Marxism posits that the struggle between social classes, specifically between the bourgeoisie or capitalists and the proletariat or workers, defines economic relations in a capitalist economy and will inevitably lead to revolutionary communism.
Hello guys, I'm Jhonathan Ibay and I will continue the definition of Marxism. By the way, for this kind of setup because this is for our performance. Anyways, I will continue the definition of Marxism. Marxism is both a social and political theory which encompasses Marxist class conflict theory and Marxian economics. Marxism was first publicly formulated in the 1848 pamphlet, the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, which lays out the theory of class struggles and revolution. Marxian economics focuses on the criticism of capitalism brought forth by Karl Marx in his 1859 book, Das Kapital. Marx's class theory portrays capitalism as one step in the historical progression of economic systems that follows one another in a natural sequence driven by vast impersonal focuses of story that play out through the behavior and conflict between social classes. And for the history of our topic, Marxism, Vhinz is here to explain to you. Bye-bye.
Uy, magandang buhay! Do you know the history of Marxism? Early Marxism. This period begins with the first partial systematization of Marx's system by his friend and collaborator Friedrich Engels in Andreii, published in 1878. Soon afterwards, in 1882, the first Marxist journal appeared, New Zed, with Kautsky as its editor. In that phase was born Marxism, namely a codification of Marx's opus in the form of canonicism, which had great successes of mass penetration. That historical bloc found in the Social Democratic Party, the right machinery for the integration and identification of each member, as well as for their collective and active membership. Its pillar was the type of conscious worker, that is, an educated member of the political party and trade union that went along with it, and a disciplined follower of the newly created party and trade union bureaucracy. The production forces therefore became the basis of society, and the factions aiming at its change, and the production relations a sort of tethered balloon that move along with the shifts in the basis. The project of emancipation largely lost Marx's anthropological horizons, founded in the nature of human possibilities, and turned into a mixture of economic and political factors predestined. If we are to look for the basic characteristic of the incipient social democracy, we might find in its social model of productive economism and the positivist philosophy of progress. This was in line with the social mandate, a very mediated one of course, of a politically organized working class and dissident burghers, intellectuals at the time of the Second Industrial Revolution, which historians also call the nationalization of the masses. And now, here's Mary Claire to continue the history of Marxism.
Hi, my name is Maricar Pulusan and I'm here to share to you the 3 common lists of Marxism. First, it helps to create a true equality scheme. While the government system of Marxism is regarded as communism, it emphasizes human rights. This implies that every individual will be able to access the most important things he wants to. As Marx believed, before law and societal services, there should be equality, where everyone has an equal role. Second, Marxism considers society as a whole, which means it understands all the social forces involved, including the needs of various groups in power. It is helpful in explaining change to society by emphasizing the role of class struggle or conflict within community. It basically organizes society under capitalism. Third, it decreases the tendency of debt. Under Marxist ideology, societies will work together to achieve success, where all people will come together to provide for each other, with the support of the government to allocate resources as necessary.
So let me introduce you to the author or creator of Marxism. Karl Heinrich Marx was a philosopher, author, social theorist, and an economist. He is famous for his theories about capitalism and communism. Born on May 5, 1818 on Rhine Province, Prussia, Germany, and died on March 14, 1883 in London, England. He published Manifest der Kommunistischen Partei with Friedrich Engels in 1848. He also was the author of the movement's most important book, Das Kapital. Oh, facts. He have a weak chest which helped him to avoid military, and he have beloved poems which was not published from his lifetime. That's all. Next.
Guys, and these are the examples of Marxism. Like China officially describe themselves as communist or one-party social states. China is highly regulated society. So like North Korea have grown out of Marxist-Leninist ideology. Today North Korea where practices the Juche or self-reliance. As a rejection of the traditional Marxist, Leninist form of communist other nations. They consider themselves as socialists in the form of universal access. So, yun lang po guys. Thank you po.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer?
Hello guys! So today we will gonna learn what is the meaning of Marxism. So what is Marxism? It's a political and economic theory where society has no classes. Every person within the society works for a common good and class struggle. It's a theoretically gone. Sounds simple, right? Not so much. Actually, many horror movies and dystopian books are written based on create a classes utopian society. Marxism aims to enhance the freedom of working class people chiefly by expanding the scope of collective action and the possibilities for individual growth and creativity within that. Marxism has tendency within the workers' movement and is concerned in both theoretical and practical critique. So what examples are there Marxism in society today? Government provides support for the young, elderly, and disabled, such as Social Security in the United States, universal health care, free education, subsidy on housing or utilities, public libraries, public roads, and highways, emergency services like the police and the fire department. So that's all of it for today, guys. I hope you enjoy it. See you in the next video. Bye!
The written works of Marx cannot be reduced to a philosophy, much less to a philosophical system.
Uy, tama na muna yan. Tuloy mo na yung ine-explain mo. Ito na po, tutuloy na.
The whole of his work is a radical critique of philosophy, especially of G.W.F. Hegel's idea system and of the philosophies of the left and right post Hegelians. However, a mere denial of those philosophies. Marx declared that philosophy must become reality. One could no longer be contented with interpreting the world. One must be concerned with transforming it. This in turn requires a critique of experience together with a critique of ideas. In fact, Marx believed that all knowledge involved critique of ideas.
Isa, di mo pa tatapusin yung project mo. Ito na po, tatapusin na po.
He was not an empiricist, rather, what unique characterized the truth of Marx is that instead of making abstract affirmations about a whole groups of problems such as human nature, knowledge, and matter, he examined each problem in its dynamic relation to the others, and above all, tries to relate them to historical, social, political, and economics realities. Me, it's Robby. Robby, you are next. Thank you.
The historical materialism in Marxist theory, the doctrine that all form of social thought is the art of philosophy and institution as the family or the state, developed as a superstructure founded on economic base. Economic relations are altered or modified as a result of class struggles, that each ruling economic class produces the class that will destroy or replace it, and that the election necessity requires the eventual withering away of the state and the establishment of a class society. As the basis for his analysis of society could be briefly formulated, raised to the level of historical law. This hypothesis was subtly called historical materialism. Marx applied it to the habit or the social and political arrangement that regulate production and distribution. Marx says nothing about the nature of his dependent on material production. As the legal relations, this foundation of the social and economic is not an incidental point. It colors Marx's whole analysis.
Ano to? Yaman, tara. Medyo na ako So yun, panibagong vlog na naman. So today, let's discuss the other facts about Marxism. Let's go! From the foregoing discussion, we can note that Marx transcends the fact-value distinction. He embraces neither a scientific approach nor a moral theory. Rather, he gives a sociological account of morality, illustrating that description and evaluation cannot be separated, and that the juridical conceptions need to be understood in relation to the mode of production in which they arise. 30. In the absence of an absolute notion of justice, it is mistaken to see Marx as offering a critique of capitalism based on moral principles. Of course, Marx had reasons for attacking capitalism, but these are contained within his account of the capitalist and mode of production. Yet, whilst this theory is not a moral theory, it cannot be described as a descriptive theory either. In Marx's work, description and evaluation cannot be meaningfully separated.